What's going on, operators? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are having a great week. You guys see the screen. If you are building your agents on your own, you have already lost the battle. Okay. We have passed the point where we should be building our own agents, maybe at the beginning of 2020, what, five? But now there is a new way of going about this that I have found to be super beneficial, and it helps me have a higher output in creating new things in whatever I'm doing. But especially when I'm looking to hire an AI agent, this method has really served me well. So let's get into it. The problem is manual agent setup. It feels productive. Trust me, you're doing a lot of gathering, you're doing a lot of writing, you're inputting tools yourself, but it usually leaks the context. Okay. So instead of using these platforms and only wiring your tools, permissions, and connections, I want you to look at it as a kind of governing force. What we're going to talk about is a governing force around how that agent interacts, and that goes beyond just the tools and workflows. So, if you don't want your information to get scattered and you want an agent that starts very, very quickly, it is able to get up to speed and start running on day zero, this is the video for you. And guess what? I had an epiphany because, once I upgraded to ChatGPT Pro for $100 per month, I got a taste of GPT 5.5 Pro. And if you guys have seen some of my previous videos, I've been talking about this a lot. When it comes to the Pro model, it really, really does something different than the other models. It isn't under the same constraints as the regular 5.5 thinking or the Claude models, Opus included. Uh, GPT 5.5 Pro is one of the best models on the market, including Fable 5. I would consider Mythos 5 and Fable 5 as pro level models as well. So they're much better at setting stuff up. They're much better at gathering details, going around and having a long process. Like, instead of your regular chat being thinking mode, if you switch over to Pro, you will get tons of images generated, like tons. You will get tons of documents created, all in this one chat, all in this one round of completion. So that's the epiphany that I had. I saw exactly how powerful this stuff was. Excuse me. And I started using it all the time, especially because if you have the Pro subscription, you get access to Pro basically 100%. So, um, this video, I'm going to pop in sometimes and say, for a social media management agent, this is what you would do. And we're not going to actually build this on here, but I am going to show you examples of things that I have built, agents that I have built with this workflow, and some hiccups that I've encountered in the process, some best practices and things like that. But I'm going to kind of allude to what a social media management agent would be doing for some parts of this video. So keep that in mind. All right. So step number one. Before we get into this, I'm going to show you guys an example. So on stream, if you missed it, we are building a number of faceless YouTube channels that are automated completely by Codex. And this is a great example to demonstrate the power of an agent built operating system. So this was the prompt that I put in here. I basically gave it the idea. I said a YouTube channel that talks like this, and then I gave it examples. So really, I didn't even do a lot of planning before I did this. I allowed Pro to do all of the planning for me. But um, basically, it analyzed all of these channels, multiple videos, the visuals on it, everything. It also looked at, a ton of different websites on how this can go. Um, Also, how the YouTube API would be working, because within the operating system, my agent has the ability to post on its own. So it looked up that, it looked up guidelines for thumbnails, stuff that maybe we already know, but it went out and got it for me, and it took 13 minutes. It came back with a couple of ideas. And so I took the idea. None of this is really important, but you can kind of see that it gave me these three ideas: the Midnight Founder, the Crown Architect, and the Shadow CEO, and the Atlas Room, and the Empire of One. So it gave me six. So the first one was the Forge of the Few, so I selected the Forge of the Few, and I then said, okay, I want you. I switched it over to pro thinking because I didn't want this to be, actually packaging up the operating system or doing any research seriously. So it only thought for 21 seconds. And I just wanted a little bit more clarification. Pro already did all the hard work up here, but I wanted a little bit more clarification about what this would actually look like so I can, you know, create an image and see it and stuff like that. So it gave me that. That was just, heavy thinking. Heavy thinking is great in addition to pro. All right. So after that, this is the prompt that I used to put the package together. And I'm going to share this prompt with you guys completely for free. You don't even have to join my community. But this is what I put in here. I want you to help in setting up a package that can get Codex to be in the right mindset and know how to run this operation. Set that up for me. We will be using YouTube for the channel, GPT Image 2 for image creation, hyperframes for video creation and editing. So you can kind of see that I put a few different tools inside of here, and that is very important. And so it built out this entire pack. And if we download this, let's just put it in my downloads really quick. Let's replace. Let's go ahead and open this. Extract, and let's go inside. And so you guys see that this is a whole package of files. We have an agents.md file. Pro created this. I did not create this. Thumbnail rules, default episode structure, quality bar, production sequence. We got a readme that's basically talking about the pack as a whole. We have content, previous stuff, nobody is coming, like shot list, script, render notes. Like this whole entire process is inside of this operating system, and we would not get this ourselves. We would not get this ourselves. You want to know how this worked out when I tried to do this myself? Not only was I missing information and context that my agent needed, but my time to operation, or my time to implementation, was very slow. It took me sometimes a week or two just to get one agent running and go through the debugging and iterate and have a stable agent. It took me about 2 weeks, but now you can do that in literally 30 minutes, I'd say. So it put together this whole entire package, told me what it is. All right. It created a number of skills. All right. Scripts. It created the package.json, content templates, prompts, copy and paste prompts for the startup, the ideation, the scripting, image prompt generation, everything. It covered all bases. And this is the power of using Pro for this. So that is when I took it over to Codex and we set up this new project, Forge of the Few, right here. And I'm not so sure that I actually have the initial setup. Let me see. Let's see really quick if I have the initial setup. Archive, archive. Let me see. Um, yeah, it's not gonna be in here. I feel like chats like disappear, but um we put it in here, all right? And inside of this package, what you'll see is that it has a Codex startup prompt. All right. So this is the prompt that I used when I was setting up the agent. This is the only thing I did. And the agent went ahead and set up everything for me and got the repo, which once you put it in here, you connect it as a project. I like to call it a repo or a GitHub repo, and it was ready for me to use. And so at that point, all we had to do was literally just trial and error, figure out what we want to do, what we don't want to do. Like this is the initial chat that I had. So that's the startup prompt right there. It went ahead and built the first package. It utilized local text to speech for that. And since we've gone on to different tools, and that's why the iteration process is very important, but like we have these type of thumbnails, which that's not a final thumbnail. This is a final thumbnail. We have images. We have the final video. You guys can see the final video. And I want you guys to know, I did not plan any of this. The scripting.
Nobody is coming to build it for you. Not the mentor, not the investor, not the perfect plan.
Okay. So like it's just a very simple video, one of those low content videos on YouTube, and it just it did it great, like fantastic. I hooked up my YouTube to it and it can publish whenever it wants to. It set up a number of different automations and crons. So these are all of my automations right now. Forge Q Planner, I've paused them today just because we're going through some more changes. I am about to switch from using Chatterbox to something else for text to speech generation, and I just have those paused. But one, two, three different, well, four different automation jobs to run this specific YouTube channel. And so that is how I use an operating system to go through this. So the first step that you need to do, instead of what I did, don't just come with a vague idea. Like you really want to do a lot of preliminary planning before you take it to GPT 5.5 Pro, unless this is something that you're kind of experimenting. You don't really care about the outputs or the direction of the outputs as much as you would your main business or something like that. So plan, plan, plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is true in this instance. So what result does this agent own every week? Okay. So my agent, when it set up those automations, it basically split the job. It's the same codex and it's working in the same project. But when it's an automation, it basically has this prompt that it will send on an automated basis. And so for those specific jobs, it has posting, it has backlog creation, it has analytics, and I believe the queue planner. So it broke down everything into, singular steps. All right. What tools? What tools? You guys saw that we were going to use the YouTube API. We were going to use 11 Labs, and you need to figure out what tools you want your agent to use, because my tech stack is not your tech stack. Some of the tools that you like using, I have no ability to use. I have no desire to use. So figure out your tools that will work best for you. Maybe if you're setting up a YouTube channel, Chatterbox is not good. But for the tools, if you're making like a social media management agent, you'll have either a social media management platform, you'll have the image gen, which ChatGPT Image 2, I will always vouch for that. You'll have an analytics tool. So really what my stack is for my social media management agent is Metricool, which is a social media management platform, Image Gen for image generation, and a number of skills inside of the workspace that gives it the ability to create on-brand captions, uh, use the right prompts for creative direction and stuff like that. So, what permissions should your agent have? Should it have full access? Should it be able to do everything? Should it be posting, or should it just be creating? Starting off, when you're, pre-iteration phase, well, when you're in the iteration phase, you don't want to ever do anything like schedule or publish. Like, you want to test that bridge so you know that you can schedule and publish, but you don't want to actually do it. um just give your agent the task to create all of the materials. So if you have a social media management agent, it will create the caption, it will create the image, it will create the video, and nothing after that. Okay. If that's all the permissions that you wanted to do and you go post it by yourself, that's what I do with a couple of my agents, then go ahead and do that. But for this specific YouTube channel that I was building, it has full permissions to do everything. I don't care about that channel. If that channel got hacked tomorrow, I wouldn't care, because it's an experiment for me. And it's going to be different based on whatever you're doing. So you also need to figure out the workflow. Okay, what is it going to do first? When is it going to talk to you? When does it need to call on sub agents? Does it need to call on this skill XYZ? Like, you need to have all of that down packed so that when you give all of that to GPT 5.5 Pro, it's not guessing the workflow that you want. You get what I'm saying? So you're just giving it more context. Number two, you want to gather the operating context. All right. For my social media management agent, I had context already. My business has been running for years. So I already had SOPs, brand documents, style guides, copy guides, all types of guidelines for my business. So all I had to do was put that inside of a folder and give it to my agent. For this YouTube channel, all of the context was generated by GPT 5.5 Pro. The only context that I gave it was, this is the type of channel that we want to do. This is the direction that we want to go in. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. That's the only context that I gave it. So sometimes you will use, I would recommend you always give the most context that you can in every single situation when you're utilizing AI. But sometimes it's okay to allow the AI to come up with that context. You just need to look over it and make sure it's what you want it to do. So once you give the pro model real docs, the agent will actually have kind of what you're looking for or what you expect without you having to explain it in a drawn out voice note. All right. So next, you're going to give it to pro, just like I did. You're going to give all of that context. If you have YouTube channel examples, if you have social media post examples, copy, whatever, if you have any examples, any context, um, all of your tools that you want it to use, the actual plan, the objective, the job that it has, give all of that to pro in a chat. Okay. All you have to do, start a new chat, go to pro, and put all of it inside of here. Just drag it inside of here. And after that, I want you guys to use this prompt. All right. This prompt right here, just type it in really quick, and it will be the thing that will get GPT 5.5 Pro to set up this package for you. So, number 4, the next step that you want to do is, connect Codex or Claude. If you use Claude, I don't use Claude. Shout out Claude, but attach it to either your Claude code, put it inside of that directory, attach it to Codex with a new project, and use the starting prompt that Pro gave you to get it all started. All right. Everything will be separated. Codex will be able to see that. Codex will read the agents.md and the readme.md and have all of the information that it will need on how to operate. The last thing that you want to do is run tests, optimize the agent, and repeat. I am continuously optimizing my agents. One thing that I just changed was the text to speech tool that we're using, but I also changed our title generation guidelines, because I want our titles to be more YouTube SEO friendly. So there's always going to be improvements that you can make to your agents. And as long as you are always looking to optimize them, and you can even set up a recursive loop within your agents, and it can set up an automation where every so often it will look through the repo, look through the operation, figure out learnings, figure out all of this other stuff, and be able to improve itself, which is a really, really great concept. So that is pretty much it, guys. Don't set up your own agents. Um, there's really no reason to. Get Pro to do it. If you don't have Pro, or you don't have Fable 5 or Mythos 5, Opus 4.8 could work, but I wouldn't. I would just use, like, worst case scenario, if you can't use GPT 5.5 Pro, use Codex, the agent Codex, or use Claude Code to set it up for you, because then it'll be able to, run longer, because that's really what Pro does. It runs longer. It's able to make multiple generations and multimodalities. It can give you text and images. So it's a really great model. So test this out. Let me know what you guys think about it. Join the Educate AI Lab. We have passed 75 members. Thank you so much to everybody that has joined, and everybody that's been stopping by the stream. We've been having some cool streams, hanging out, building stuff, testing out AI stuff. And there's tons of cool things that are going to be coming to this channel. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. And yeah, man, keep learning AI, keep taking care of yourselves, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.